It is pretty chilly. We are expecting really bad weather in the next 3 days. It's supposed to be at a 0-degree wind chill for pretty much all 3 days, and they're even forecasting a light dusting of snow, which in most parts of the country a light dusting of snow isn't a big deal, but in Georgia it is a big deal because the roads freeze over. They don't have sand trucks, they don't have salt trucks, they don't know how to take care of it, they don't know how to fix it, and the temperatures are expected to stay freezing for 3 days after the snow. So we're just gonna say a prayer for Georgia. For all the people that have to get out on the road, please be careful, use caution. And for those that don't have to be on the road, please stay home, stay safe. And for all you farmers out there, I feel ya. We still have to get out and take care of our animals no matter how cold it gets. And this isn't that cold compared to what other people deal with. We're just not as acclimated to it, so hang in there, Georgians. She looks a little strange, doesn't she? I took off my jacket and gave it to her, even though it's freezing out here. So as she was up here eating, she started shivering. And I've been trying to get her weight back up since she kidded. And she is kind of a picky eater. Like, she'll eat half of the food in the bowl and then try to get down. Like, she's all done. And I'm like, girl, you need to eat it all. And she won't. And she'll leave behind all the alfalfa pellets. She's able to eat around them somehow. So we've added beet pulp with molasses to her diet. So she loves that and she's gobbling it up. So that's good. Hopefully it'll encourage her to eat the rest of her grains as well. But another problem that I just realized was happening with her, and I feel really bad about because I should have caught it sooner and I thought I had already prevented it, is she's extremely copper deficient. Extremely. To the point where she's showing the symptoms of copper deficiency, which doesn't make sense because I thought that I gave her copper bolus, but apparently what I'm thinking happened now is that she ate around it because I did it in her food. So I put molasses on top of her food, like drizzled some molasses on top, and then sprinkled the copper on the molasses so that it would stick to it so that she'd eat it because she loves molasses. Well, she must have somehow managed to spit it out because I was milking her the other day and I noticed that her hind quarter, black goats are the most likely to become copper deficient for some reason. I'm not sure what the science is behind that. I'm sure I could look it up, but I don't know at this moment. So you can't really see it in this lighting, but it has turned reddish in color, her hair. So when the hair starts to turn red on the back quarter, that is a copper deficiency sign. And her hair is super thin. She usually has a thick winter coat and it's super thin, like dangerously thin. I think I am actually going to possibly consider getting her a sweatshirt and putting it on her, even though you're not supposed to do that with animals that live outside because it messes up their ability to grow the proper winter coat. So I have not coated her because of that. So I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one. Then the other sign of copper deficiency is around her eyes. And I didn't even notice this until I noticed the hair on her thigh. But around her eyes, you see how thin the hair looks? I don't know if the camera's showing it at all. But she has severe hair loss around her eyes. That's another sign of copper deficiency. So those are things that you should be looking out for. A rough coat is usually a sign of copper deficiency or worms. So she clearly is fighting the copper deficiency. Last week when I noticed the red on her thighs, I immediately gave her a copper bolus, and this time I managed to figure out how to do it with the pill shover thingy. It's like a cattle thing that you put in their mouth and you have to push it all the way back to their throat. or they won't swallow it. The first time I put it in there, I thought I was all the way back, and she spit it out into her food bowl. So the second time, I made sure I went back further and put it in, and she swallowed it. So hopefully, now when you give her copper bullets, it doesn't work right away. Copper bullets is a slow release method of dealing with copper deficiency, so hopefully it starts working soon. This is what I use. I order them up on Amazon, and they should get them every 6 months or so if you're in a copper deficient area. All the goats, but I think that she needed it sooner. So some goats go through the copper quicker, and it's just really hard to tell unless you see these symptoms. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on her and making sure that the copper is working and doing its thing. And they do have a loose mineral with copper in it, and their food has copper in it, but it's just not enough apparently. And so I'm going to have to just keep a close eye on her, and I'm gonna look at the other black goats a little more closely. Sister Ray looks great. She doesn't look like she has any issues, but Shady Girl. So yesterday when I was talking to Ryan out in the sunlight with it, he took off his polarized sunglasses and said, "Look at her. This is really weird." And I put the glasses on, and you can see the red hair way more predominant with those polarized sunglasses. And so I took a look at Shady with those glasses on, and there was a slight tinge of copper color in her back quadrant. So she might have also not gotten enough copper. Ugh. But the copper I gave them was long enough ago that I'm not too worried about giving it to them again, especially if they're showing symptoms of deficiency. But you have to be very careful not to have copper toxicity either. So it's a careful balancing act with these animals to make sure that their levels are correct, not too high, not too low. Dairy goats are a lot of work, but they're so worth it. The milk is worth it, and the companionship. I love my goats. They're my babies. You guys know that. Also, something that I've noticed in my goat groups or goat books or what have you is that it doesn't seem like everybody agrees on how the copper should be given. Some people have stated that it has to be in the complete pill form because of a slow release action in the intestines or something. But other people mix it into their food, hide it inside of a banana or a fig Newton or something, and give it to them that way. So I've done both ways now. So I mean, the thing is they're little tiny copper rods inside of the pill, and they are designed so that they embed into the intestinal wall as they go down their intestines, so that they will slow release that way. So my thoughts were, well, then it doesn't matter if they're inside of a pill or not. It's just a vegetable capsule, you know. It's not like it's a slow release pill. So you guys make your decision on how you want to administer after you've done your own research. Make sure that you research anything that I have suggested or recommended to make sure that it is what you want and what you need and what you feel comfortable with. One wide load. You too, fancy girl. My two herd queens. Fat sows. So the funny thing is that fancy girl is just bred, if she's bred, because she was acting in heat recently, and I put her in with Fluffernutter again. Unless she is acting in heat right on time when her cycle is supposed to be, which is possible because she did that last year. Because she's looking pretty wide. And Ryan even noticed that she looked fat. So she could have been bred months ago for all I know at this point. We attempted to breed her for a while with Fluffernutter. We just never saw anything happening. Now Kitty, on the other hand, I don't believe is as far as along as she looks, but it's hard to tell. See, last year Kitty didn't even look pregnant, and now she looks really pregnant. So I went through my Google Calendar. You know, I always tell you guys to stay organized and keep good records. Well, guess who I couldn't find on the due dates? Yeah, Kitty. So we had 3 goats that we were very sure of the dates on when they bred because we witnessed it. Shady Girl, who's leaning against me, and Rocky were bred one day apart from each other. On the first week of April is when they will be due. So they're due April 6th and 7th, I think. My mom and my sister's birthdays. Pretty cool. I know their dates because we witnessed the breeding when they were in heat. We put them in with a buck. Everything went just as planned. And I was good about marking it on the calendar. Sister Ray was bred the day that she came, and I marked it on the calendar. And that makes her due the first week of March. So she'll be the first one to go, unless Kitty was bred before that, which is quite possible because Kitty was kind of like, oh, I'll just put her in whenever she seems like she's in heat. But I thought I marked it on the calendar when I did that, and I don't see anywhere saying likely due on, which is what I write. I write Kitty is likely due on and due today. And I write that on the date on the calendar. These little girls are all nibbling my jacket. Hello, little girls. Hello, little precious girls. These girls are all about 1 year old now and probably could be bred, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna wait because I don't want to be having June babies. Then Chaos was bred just the other day when Ryan said that she looked like she was in heat, and he put her in with the bucks. So I didn't mark that on the calendar either, but I'm pretty sure that it happened and that I can count on that being the end of April, beginning of May. End of April, beginning of May on Fancy Girl, I think is what I had to. So Willow, I have no idea. She was in with Fluffernutter for a long time. So she's not acted in heat at all ever since they were together. So I don't know when she was bred. No idea. Cream, what are you doing? What you looking at? Huh? What are you doing? Rocky, why are you eating my pants? Oh, Bo rubbed against me. You smell that? Yeah, he's a stinky buck. Bo is in full-on rut, which he's not supposed to be. He was supposed to be months ago when I was trying to breed. But he got his job done. And now he's in rut, which is funny as all get out. I don't know, Fancy Girl. You look pretty wide. See, she was as big as a house last year. So I was expecting her to pop long before she did. She was actually the last one to deliver, and I thought she was going to be the first. She carries big, so who knows? These silly goats. The weird thing is Kitty was very small last year, and I hardly even could tell she was pregnant. So I'm curious about her due date. I'm thinking maybe she is bred sooner and might be due for February babies, which is perfectly fine. That's the one thing is if you do put your goats in with a buck, just be prepared that that's when the babies could come. If you run your buck with your does all the time, then you're never gonna know when they're gonna be bred for it. At least I have a window of time. Cinnamon's doing well after his disbudding job. I shaved off most of the hair on his head before I did it this time, because last time I felt like I didn't shave off enough hair and I couldn't see what I was doing as well. But yay, you goats. So friendly. Rocky, I hope that doesn't mean that your breeding didn't take. You're awfully interested in the smell of the buck that rubbed against me. Luna too? Luna too? You're gonna see too? My Luna girl. Remember when Luna was a baby and she was so friendly? She's gotten a lot more skittish like her mom. I think it might be a part of their personality type because they've both been treated just as friendly as the rest of their herd. So I think some of it is genetics, personality type. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Luna, I love you. Oh, Shady, I love you too. Oh, you can't let the baby get attention? Shady, that's not like you. Hormonal pregnant goat. Silly girl. Precious, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. Precious is a pretty, pretty goat. Yes, she is. You're all pretty. Yes. Very pretty. Parsley right here. I'm thinking about sending over to Robert at Neighbor at Avery's. What do you think of that? What do you think, Robert? She looked like she could fit into your herd nicely? Huh? She's pretty. What you looking at, Clazy? Huh? You see those goats? You want to be a goat herder, don't you? In due time, my love. In due time. We gotta get you to relax a little bit. You're too tense. You're too tense. But you're getting much better. That's it for today. I'm gonna head in, see what Dalton fixed for lunch for the boys and I. And thank you guys for watching. You know the drill. We'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.